Hi, I'm Jen, and today I have 5 tips for creating a process documentation system. My first tip is to don't think that all you need is a knowledge base or some other storage or organization tool. That is only one part of a system. My second tip is to set up the system for yourself first to make sure it works and to model the behavior of using a documentation system for your other team members. And to clarify about system, that's going to be time management, task management, other additional project management, communication habits and tools, and then the storage habit and tools, the documentation storage. My third tip is reminders, reminders, reminders. You can never have too many reminders, even when you're focusing on your own personal system, because rarely is documentation urgent. The priority work will always overtake it if you don't remind yourself why you're doing it, if you don't remind yourself that you need to do it, and think about that long-term success. Remind yourself about the long-term success you're going to see. So automate those reminders to complete or update documentation into your calendar, into Slack, into project management systems, wherever it's going to get in front of you. My next tip is, unless you're a one-person business with no desire to delegate to contractors, you're eventually going to need to expand your system to include other roles besides yourself, such as users at a minimum, creators, editors, approvers, and more. Because systems of one person can often fail, it's just too much pressure on one person to be in charge of all the documentation for the entire company. And again, you're going to want to have at least users of your documentation if you're more than a team of one. So after you have other people using your system, don't expect people to remember to use or update or create documentation without setting your system up for them and without those reminders, again, that we talked about, communicating about it many, many times in many formats. People are not going to remember things after seeing or hearing them only one time. Some people learn or remember better in different communication formats, so repeat yourself in different formats often. And often documentation fails since no one knows it exists because the communication part of the system was either not set up well or not set up at all. I do have a lot of content about documentation systems on my blog if you're interested in more, but if you know you're not going to read blogs and you need more accountability to get your documentation system started or improved, I do have a live workshop on how to create a system to keep documentation in use and updated. I run the workshop almost every month. It's about 2.5 hours, and no, I don't talk the entire 2.5 hours. That's not going to be very useful. It's more like 20 or 30 minutes of me explaining best practices and then 20 minutes of individual work time to actually work on making decisions for your system and planning it out. And then you have breakout discussions to get peer advice on your plans and your questions. And then maybe a 5 to 10 minute group discussion to get my and other people's advice. And then we repeat that 2 or 3 times for the topics of your personal system, adding roles, other people to the system, and improving an existing system. You also get a workbook for centralizing all these decisions and plans and notes in one place. These workshops have been especially beneficial for team members of the same company or the same agency, taking them at the same time. So contact me about some easier invoice payment for that, for taking that workshop together. But if you'd like a kickstart or restart for your documentation system, enroll in the workshop. There should be a link below this post or video.